the microphone. There's the microphone. Right, guys. That is that right. That's it. That is me and technology over. We are done. I'm not using new software.
Fault. It wasn't me.
Guys, genuinely, the software just closed. It was right there 1 minute and then it was just like, can't be bothered with this anymore.
For a second, we just continued to talk and then I went, the camera's gone off.
We were literally talking to ourselves for a good sort of 30 seconds.
Yeah, about Mitrovic.
Yeah, they were. It was brilliant, by the way.
It was insightful.
Guys, it was brilliant. You missed some proper FPL nuggets in that 30 minutes. So I'm back to using the old software. We're here, guys. Thank you for sticking with us. I have no idea what happened, but what I will say is that while that other piece of software, the Streamlabs piece that I was using was working, this laptop, this 1972 laptop that I've got from work, was proper working hard, wasn't it? Kicking out some air out the back. So I wonder whether that piece of software is just a bit too
good for the PC.
It's a bit too heavy potentially for what we're trying to do here, which is we need this lighter piece of software. So guys, thank you. So Tom Clayton, when it ain't broke, don't change it. Tom, you are spot on.
You're 100% right, Tom. When he said he was using this new software, I was like, why?
Never a wiser word said, Tom. Never a wiser word said.
I mean, when the volume was broke, we got a new mic because we needed it.
Yes, Greggs, we ran out of 50p's. You're absolutely
Pretty
right.
much.
I'm not sure what's happened there. Vinyl Richie Lee's got a new toy. Yeah. Danny McDonald, classic live stream, bad luck. Yeah, I mean, this is... I thought we'd try something different. It didn't work. We won't be doing it again. Joe saying that's what you get for dissing Deeney. Yeah, it's quite right.
I wasn't dissing Deeney. Right. I was being quite positive about Deeney.
I was saying I didn't like him. So I don't know, guys, whether this has kicked up a new video in YouTube or whatever, or whether it's just continued on the previous one. I guess this episode is going to have 2 videos now on the channel, which is going to be weird and random, isn't it? Annoying. But there it is. Guys, thank you for rejoining us. So... what were we talking about? We were talking about your Wildcard.
We were talking about Mitrovic.
We were talking about Mitrovic.
I think that Mitrovic position, just to kind of finish up on what we were saying when we were rudely cut off, is that Mitrovic, for now, he is in my team, but Fulham's fixtures aren't ideal over the next few game weeks. And that spot is very much still up for grabs, because I think whilst he has been really good for the first 4 game weeks, I'm not convinced that Mitrovic is going to be like this for the entire season.
Okay.
So,
all right. So, any other thoughts on your wildcard team before we get into the game week?
So I think really at the moment I think the keepers will stay as they are for now, because I kind of feel like rotating keepers can happen at any point, because I just do one week and one another week. It doesn't really matter.
Very good. Okay.
But yeah, I think really we're just talking about the Will Hughes and the Mitrovic positions. I think they're my kind of final 2 decisions. Otherwise, I'm fairly happy. I'm pleased to have Hazard and Salah.
Okay, a couple of questions we just need to address. So one is, Dom J's on. Thank you, Dom. He's saying, good evening, guys. Just put my boy to bed. What have I missed? Well,
a lot.
I think you've joined at the right time, Dom.
You missed chaos.
You've missed a little bit of chaos. Danny McDonald, who I think was actually asking the question as the thing went crazy a second ago in terms of the Richarlison. I don't think it was Danny's fault. No, I'm not putting any blame onto Danny at all. But he did ask a very good question around Richarlison, which I'm not sure we fully addressed. Have you got a plan to get him back in?
Sorry, you did ask me that. I don't at the moment. Well, I sort of do, I guess. I think... So I'm not sure about Richarlison. I do want him back.
You're not sure about Richarlison?
No, I want him back, but I'm not sure yet whose position he'll take. So I'm kind of... I'm waiting to see where the team... Because obviously he's not playing this game week. It'll be the following one. So I don't want to get him in just yet. Also, he's had a couple of prize falls, so we're in a good place to get him back.
All right. And in terms of your team, do you think... Because, I mean... I'm not going to criticise it because you can't. It's very template, but it doesn't feel. So when I play the wildcard, I think I'm going to play it when I want to make a fundamental shift to my team. So if you were going, Salah out to Mane, and then spreading that £3 million and buying another big player, or maybe getting Lukaku or something like that, I would say, yeah, definitely. Do you think you've done enough surgery with it, or do you think your team just needed like freshening up and you wanted to change a lot of different positions, so that's why I used it? Don't look at me like that. I'm just. All I want to know is, all right, Hazard in. I get that, but you could have done that with a -4. So
no, I couldn't.
No, okay, all right. So it was Hazard that made you play the wild card, really.
And Mendy, I guess, because so for me it was a case of I need I needed the back four to look a certain way. I wanted a way. So I actually, for most of this wildcard window, haven't had Salah, and I have had the money spread around. So Salah actually only came back in today.
Okay.
So I have spread the money around, but looking at a team without Salah just makes me feel uncomfortable. For me, like I've had Mane for a lot of this window, and I just kind of feel like it doesn't.
Oh, right. Okay.
It doesn't feel quite right. Salah is still at risk, but you look at the statistics from last season and this season, you can't overlook the fact that the guy is doing just as well as he did.
Sure.
So there's no reason to suggest otherwise. Really.
Okay. Very, very good. All right. So we've got to say hello to El Stato. So El Stato is in. I think he's just joined. So El Stato, you've joined at just the right time. The guys on the live chat can fill you in on the absolute chaos that we've had so far on the stream and the technical issues that we've had. The first of this season, actually. In the first season, last year, it was technical issue after technical issue. But as we've started to become a little bit more...
What are you going to say now?
I was going to use the word professional.
No, you can't use the word
professional. As we've become a little bit more used to doing these streams, those technical things have subsided. But today we've had a big one. We've had a big one, El Stato, and you've missed it, mate.
Lee crashed the entire stream.
Crashed the entire stream. It all went completely wrong. Let's see what the guys are saying about your wildcard. Good or bad. So I want to hear what you guys have got to say about this wildcard.
Hopefully they think better of it than you do.
Cy Greggs is saying, lol, Lee getting the stare. Yep, Cy, we've been married 8 years. I'm absolutely used to it by now. Don't you worry about it. MU Fan TV, Sam, you haven't fully utilised your wildcard, to be honest.
What,
okay?
13 transfers?
Well, this is,
13.
Listen,
Actually, I think it's 14.
Aaron is saying this team is a popular one. Yeah, okay, yeah. Is that a good or a bad thing? I don't know. Who was that? So Simon was saying Richarlison scored an awesome goal for Brazil.
He did. He was a bit of a worldie, yeah.
Tom Sheehan is saying he's still got Mkhitaryan. Yeah, me too, Tom. Me too. But it's his week. It's his week. To be benched. Techers3773 is saying Maddison. Now we're going to come to Leicester assets a bit later on.
Got a price rise.
No Leicester in your side, which is kind of interesting given they've got some nice fixtures coming up. Did you consider Maddison as the last question on your wildcard before we get into the games?
Yes.
You did?
Yeah, and Maddison was one. Him and Fraser are the two that I've been pondering because I would really like to have Maddison. He had a price rise for 6.6 now. Yeah, he's still one that potentially, if I downgraded Mitrovic, I could wangle Maddison in.
All right, okay. Well, let's talk a little bit.
It's food for thought, definitely the Maddison pick.
Let's talk a little bit more about Leicester assets when we get there, including a jammy pick that I've got for you this week.
What, from Leicester?
From Leicester City, and you guys have probably already guessed who it is. Now, Maddison would actually fit the jammy pick criteria. I looked at him earlier. He's only 3.5% owned.
He is, but I ruled him out on the basis that we've spoken about him so much he can't be a jammy pick a few weeks back.
Absolutely, I would agree with that. But by true jammy pick rules, he's there. Now, he's actually not my pick. There's somebody else who's even fewer owned.
Well, it can't be Damari Gray because we've already had him as a jammy pick.
It's not Damari Gray either. It's not Damari Gray. But listen, let's come to that when we talk about Leicester. There is, however, only one place to start when it comes to this weekend's fixtures. Now, we need to try not to talk about this for the whole hour. Spurs versus Liverpool. A couple of very important injuries for Spurs coming out with, obviously, Lloris and Dele Alli going to be out of the game at the weekend. Mm-hmm. A lot of players coming back from international duty, etc., etc. We always get interesting games, let's say, and interesting team picks when we get out the other side of the international breaks. Not just for our two teams, for Liverpool and Spurs, but for most teams. I'm sure there's going to be some surprises at the weekend.
Definitely.
Give me your thoughts, as unbiased as you can, and I'll try and be as unbiased as I can.
Which means we'll both be biased.
Which means we'll both be biased. On the game at the weekend, how are you feeling about it?
Fine.
Okay, good.
I think we will go into it fairly confident. I think you will go into it fairly confident. I mean, we had 2 really good results against you last season. So that will give us confidence. Mm-hmm. It's losing Lloris is a real kick.
Do you think Spurs are a bit more susceptible to set pieces without Lloris? Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, 100%. I think,
I'd be happy if I had Virgil van Dijk in my fantasy Premier League team, and I know a lot of people will be getting off of Liverpool defenders from what I've seen, because a lot of wildcards hanging about. Liverpool fixtures do look tough, there's no doubt about it. There's a nice game at home to Southampton in Gameweek 6, but outside of that, it's obviously Spurs this weekend, then I think after the Southampton game, it's Chelsea and Man City. Mm-hmm. Around those games is a visit from Paris Saint-Germain to Anfield and a visit to Italy to go and play Napoli. So Liverpool's fixtures very, very difficult. A lot of people getting off the Liverpool defenders.
But you play well. Historically, you play well against the bigger teams.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, last season that was a trait of Liverpool, wasn't it? That actually we actually played all right against the bigger teams. I don't think we had great results against them. I remember going to, was it United, or maybe United came to Anfield and they won 1-0. I think De Gea pulled off a couple of great saves. Spurs we played bad against. We went to the Bridge and lost 1-0. City beat us 5-1 at the Etihad. So I don't think we've got a great track record last season against the big boys. But we do seem to play all right and we can get goals. So I'm really intrigued. This is the acid test for Liverpool and for Spurs, actually.
I think so. I think
this week.
It's a big game for both of us. We're coming off the back of a... I hate to bring it up again because it would just make Joe gloat, but a defeat from Watford.
Sure.
And yeah, I think the result from last time it could work one of two ways, couldn't it? So I think the international break comes at a bad time because they all disappeared off on international duty immediately afterwards. So you come back from international duty and you've got to talk about what happened in the previous game. Sure. So that's bringing up bad memories of that. So it will either do one of two things. It either sets the mood in a negative light, or actually, it bolsters morale. Now, losing Lloris for me is the key one. Losing Ali is a shame.
Okay.
However, we do have so many midfielders, and Sonny with his lovely gold medal is back now.
Yes,
so
very good.
It's not like we've got a problem in midfield. There are other players that we can play in midfield to replace Ali. That's not an issue. I think probably what it means is that we'll see Sonny and Mora.
Do you think it might mean we see Eriksen pushed a bit further forward?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it does. I think we do.
So it might make Eriksen, if you've got him, a better fantasy asset for this week. I think the Lloris thing is a problem. I don't see Spurs keeping a clean sheet without Lloris. I think it'll be a draw, if I'm really honest.
Okay, all right, very good. I'm really split on it. It's a big game for both sides. We've had a reasonable start to a good start to the season, but the fixtures have been pretty kind, I think. You've had a pretty mixed start to the season, fixture difficulty-wise.
Oh, right.
But actually results-wise as well, right? Going away to Watford and losing is obviously not great.
No, but we
so
won
it's a big game for both sides, and I think it will be a good test of either of our title credentials. Now, from an FPL perspective, I'm absolutely keeping Salah. I'm not subscribing in any way to the no Salah movement. I can understand why people are ditching him potentially for Mane or for Hazard. I can understand that. But everywhere you look, every statistic you look at, Salah is right near the top of that table, if not at the top. Chances created even, shots on the box and getting in dangerous positions. The guy played well against Spurs last year. I think got 2 goals in the 3 goals in the 2 Premier League games, because I think he got the one at Wembley, and then he scored a couple of goals at Anfield. So Spurs are the sort of team that historically Liverpool do all right against.
We'll ship goals against you. There's no... There will not be a clean sheet in that game, is my opinion.
You think goals for both sides?
Absolutely.
Okay, all
because whilst I think that you are much, much better defensively than you have been in previous seasons, and Van Dijk has done that, we are playing well attacking-wise at the moment. So I think we'll score, and I certainly think you will against Form.
Okay, let's see what you guys are saying about this game, which I think, looking through the fixtures, is the game of the weekend. I think that's got to be, isn't it? Let's see what you guys are saying.
I'm just glad I'm not watching it with you, to be honest, because last time it was horrendous.
Karthik is saying Salah will star in this game. Okay, well, that's interesting. I think he's due, isn't he? He's due, if we can use that phrase. I don't like using this kind of due phrase, but if you look at the statistics, kind of an explosion is imminent, isn't it? James Morgan, thanks for joining, James. He said, Salah scared me, but more points to be had from the other two. Okay, fair enough. With Lloris injured, I think Liverpool will win 2-0. Carry 256 is saying. Mane will star in this game. I just feel it, says MU Fan TV. Okay. Liverpool turn up in the big games, says Simon. 3-1 Liverpool, Shuvik. So, it's tough. It's a tough game to call. And from an FPL perspective, I think attacking assets are the way forward. I do agree with you.
Having said that, the defensive, it goes back to that whole, if you're not fussed about a clean sheet, the defensive players could equally get you attacking return.
Sure.
So I'd still play them if you have Trippier or Robertson.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's move on to one of the other games and one of the other teams who I think are very, very popular in people's wildcards, with people tripling up on Sarri's Chelsea from what I've seen. Now, is that something you thought about in your wildcard? I noticed you've got Alonso and Hazard. Did you think at any stage you might want to complement that with Pedro, or look at the goalie, or put another defender in there?
Well, no, I didn't want another defender because I hate the back double up. And I've got Alonso. I kind of feel like Alonso is the defender of choice for Chelsea.
Okay, sure. Without a doubt, yeah.
In terms of the midfield, yeah, I mean, I looked at Pedro, but again, it comes down to this whole, well, you've got Pedro, and I don't want us to end up with the same team, which is the risk that we have by doing this, is that we end up talking so much about it that we have the same football team. So I would... Pedro I kind of fancy, but then at the same time I am really dubious, and I know you don't think it's a risk, but I am really concerned about the rotation with Willian and Pedro, and I suppose you put Morata in there because you...
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
With all of those players, I'm kind of dubious as to how that's going to work longer term.
So Aaron in the live chat is saying, I'm captaining Alonso. Now Aaron, if you go ahead and captain Alonso, you have got balls of steel, my friend, because there are some captaincy options out there, like Aguero, that we're going to come to later on, who looks nailed on for the captaincy, in my opinion, this week. But Alonso, captain, we did mention it in the last live stream. I think we concluded that actually it wasn't a terrible idea. Tempted or happy to just have him?
Yes, I'd be tempted if City didn't play Fulham at home. I'd be tempted.
Yeah, so that's a good point, isn't it? So if Aguero was like away to Spurs or something,
playing away at Liverpool or Spurs, then yes, I'd be tempted on that game, because I think Chelsea at home to Cardiff, for Alonso, there's not only potential attacking returns, which are always there with Alonso, but in this game there is a real chance of also the clean sheets. And if he gets a clean sheet and some attacking returns, you're pretty much guaranteed 3 bonus points. So it could be a huge point score for Alonso this week. It's just that for me, and we'll talk more about him later, Aguero has this lovely fixture and it's at home, and I just kind of feel like that is the place to pop my captain's armband. But I can totally see the appeal of putting it on Alonso this week.
So if you had a choice between Alonso and Hazard, who would you captain?
For this game, I put it on Alonso over Hazard.
Ooh, okay,
because I do think that there is a clean sheet potential there, and so if you've got, they've both got attacking returns, Hazard and Alonso, but Alonso's got the potential to get the additional 4 points for a clean sheet, or 3, because obviously Hazard would still get 1, so 3 points more. And that's enough for the bonus points to swing in his favour. Okay,
and while we're on the subject of captains, in all of the nonsense that was going on earlier, I forgot about the polls. So I have got a couple of polls, as ever. Feels like a mute point now, doesn't it? A mute point. But if you click on the little eye in the top right-hand corner, guys, there's a couple of polls. One about Game Week 5 captaincy, as we normally do on these preview videos. And one about that specifically for the wildcarders. So if you've wildcarded, how are you feeling about that wildcard right now? Are you feeling awesome? Smashed it, got a great team, all the way down to, I've wasted it. And one of the reasons I wanted to put that in there was because I wanted a reference to Wasting Your Wildcard, which is clearly David's book, which obviously we got to promote, haven't we? If I had it, I'd show it, but I haven't got it.
Oh, it's upstairs.
But we did speak about when we did the FPL draft video. David was there clearly, and he was talking about his book. So if you guys haven't checked out Wasting My Wildcard or Wasting Your Wildcard, which is David Wardale's book, go check him out on Twitter at DavaWava, DAVVAWAVVA, at DavaWava. Yeah, so he's on there. He's written a book about FPL. I'm about halfway through it, and so far I'm really enjoying it. There's a lot of stories from people. He's collected stories from all over the world about people playing FPL. Very, very good. So go check that out. So those are the polls. Those two. How are you feeling about your wildcard, and who's your captain for Game Week 5? Going back to the Chelsea game, I don't see anything other than a Chelsea rout in this game. Do you?
No.
Yeah, and I remember seeing I don't know whether it was an interview with Warnock or there was a quote from Warnock where he was almost being a bit apologetic about the weekend. I think he's almost resigned himself to the fact they're going to lose that game, which is a bit of a weird mindset to go into.
See, this is where it becomes interesting though, doesn't it? Because if you're a team that, like Cardiff, who goes to play Chelsea knowing that it's highly unlikely you're going to get anything out of the game, they're going to be looking to defend well and probably counter if they get the opportunity.
Yeah.
this is why I think the potential for a clean sheet is there for Chelsea, where I don't normally think there's many potentials for clean sheets this season, but I think in this game there is.
Cardiff ain't going to score that game.
No, because I don't see Cardiff really going forward. I see them mostly being set out to defend and try and get a point out of the game.
Yeah, but I mean, no away goals yet so far this season. I can't see anything other than a home win there. Let's not dwell on it anymore. If you've got Alonso at 100% playing, captain him if you like, but I think there are better captaincy options this game week. But there's not many. Yeah, not many, and that's why he's one of in the captain poll. He is absolutely in there as an option. Let's talk about where we think, or certainly where I'm going to be putting the armband this week, and that is Man City at home to Fulham. Now, I'm pretty sure that Aguero is going to play. He's not been playing for Argentina or flying around the world doing international stuff. If anything, I've seen a tweet from him just chilling out by the pool with, I can't remember who it was, some other player. So he's had a proper rest. And he's going to be coming back into that City versus Fulham game full of enthusiasm, you think, full of fresh legs. Fulham, as we've seen, a pretty good start to the season. We've mentioned that before. And going forward, I don't think there's too much to complain about. But if you look at the underlying statistics of how Fulham are defending, it does not make for good reading.
The thing is with City as well, actually there's been a high percentage of their team haven't played international football, have they? So David Silva's retired from international football. So there's a load of them.
Sané kind of had the baby and kind of sort of left.
So he's had time off. There's just loads of them.
Mendy played. And by the way, got a fantastic assist for Giroud's goal the other night. Who were they playing? The Dutch, I think. France, Netherlands. And a typical Mendy cross. Really whipped in, and maybe Silas, the goalkeeper, could have done a bit better. But the finish from Giroud, and in particular the assist from Mendy, I mean, this guy, you have to... I'm glad you got him in your wildcard.
Are you? I think you quite liked it.
No, it's absolutely not bad. But you have to have... I think you have to have Mendy.
It's a bit like Alonso, really, isn't it?
I think you have to have it. Yeah, totally. So that game, you foresee a home win, a big score for City, or do you think it's a tight game?
Well, so I'm going to jinx it now, because I actually think City could run away with that game.
I think they could as well.
Because
Fulham won't sit. Fulham are not in.
No,
looking at them so far, they don't look like the sort of team that are going to sit and absorb. No. They want to go for it.
They'll attack. So
Surely they can't be that naive, though.
They'll do the opposite of Cardiff. Cardiff will go to Chelsea and try and defend and get something out of the game.
Maybe.
Fulham will go to City and try and play them. And the trouble is that if you do that, because City aren't afraid to ship a goal.
Yes,
because they'll score more.
True.
So Fulham will go and probably attack City. City will have a lot of opportunities. They'll get a lot of space in that game.
Notorious Nerd is saying City 6, Fulham 2. It
could
be that sort of game, right?
5-1, I
reckon. Be that sort of game. Dom J, City 4-2. Shane, City 4-1.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say about that is that, we sat here and said, well, surely it's going to be a rout for City against Newcastle. And actually it ended up being, I think, was it 2-1? Maybe 3-1? 2-1, I think. And it wasn't the rout we expected. Aguero, who everybody captained, come away with, I think, just an assist. So I don't know. I'm with you. I'm with you guys in the live chat, and I'm with you. I do think it's going to be a big score for City, but we thought that against Newcastle, and it wasn't. So who knows? Aaron is saying it will be a draw. Goodness me, Aaron, you're coming up with some statements tonight. Look at this.
Could have captain Alonso.
Vinay is saying David Silva will be the standout performer. I can't argue with that, Vinay. I can't argue with that. He looks very, very good, doesn't he? And I just noticed, I can't remember who made the comment, but someone was talking about how, I think it might have been even Richard, saying about when he watched the Man City documentary, the All or Nothing documentary, which I've now seen. Fantastic. If you guys have got it, if you're on Amazon Prime, go check that out. Pep is, it's clearly very focused around Pep, but there's quite a lot of focus on Aguero, given that he's, the star man and all the rest of it. And there's a lot of talk in there about how he was played through largely quite a bit of pain with some injuries over sort of 5 years. He's had this surgery now. He took time out to have the surgery, get it sorted, his injury. And now, we've seen him this season already looking great. He's come out and talked about how fit he feels and what great form he seems to be in, how he's loving playing in the side. Pep's coming out and waxing lyrical about him. So, yeah, he's bang on form right now.
Well, I think, and forgive me if I'm talking out of turn, but I think for the pair of us, really, Aguero was put in our teams as a bit of a placeholder for Kane, because City had a nice-ish start.
Possibly.
It was like, you don't necessarily want Kane at the beginning of the season because of the World Cup stuff and all of that malarkey. And I think for most of us, or certainly most of the people that I've been talking to, that Aguero place was the one that was going to go for Kane eventually, because Aguero was a bit more of a rotation risk, because obviously there's Jesus and the way City play sometimes.
Well, leading up to game week 1, I think he was at about 13-14% ownership, and then game week 2 happened, and he's and then 3 and 4, and all of a sudden he's at, I think now, guys, tell me if I'm wrong, I think he's the most owned. I think he's over Salah? Leapfrogged, if that's the right phrase, over Salah. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people got off of Aubameyang, didn't they, in order to get on him and that sort of thing. So yeah, for me, Aguero is just, you can't do without Aguero in your fantasy team at the moment. And I know a lot of people are kind of taking punts on or sticking with Aubameyang, and I kind of get that with Arsenal's fixtures. Sure. And same with Lukaku, but.
Okay, well, we're going to come to Arsenal in a second, maybe next. Just a quick shout out to Rhinos Leeds. Don't know if he's got that right around. Leeds Rhinos probably sounds better. First time watcher, good show, guys. Thanks for tuning in, Rhinos. He's saying no one's mentioning Sterling. What a sensational differential. Now, before we move on to Arsenal, let's talk about Sterling in this Man City side. Yeah, no one's talking about him because
he's too expensive
of the price tag, right? And everyone seems to be flocking to Hazard, and I do understand why you would flock to Hazard. But City's fixtures still look pretty good for a few weeks, and Sterling, criminally overlooked, in short, or do you think he's right to not be in all those teams?
Overlooked, yes, but not criminally. Because the problem is, you cannot have, with the back 5 or the back 4, the way that they are at the moment and how important they've become in the team, you have to be selective with these top players that you're going to have in the middle. So if you want Salah or Mane, and you're probably going to want Hazard because Chelsea's fixtures are lovely, and you want Aguero, where's the money coming from for Sterling?
He's too expensive.
That's the problem.
Absolutely.
But he is overlooked 100%, and he will cause problems.
Okay, so David Solis is saying Sterling too expensive, rotation risk. Yeah, Richard, Sterling over Aguero would be the option. Yeah, you'd have to probably choose, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and I don't think you can pick Sterling over Aguero at the moment.
Tom Gravgard is saying can see Sterling being used in the Champions League. Okay, Jerome Hughes, Sterling's second best player last season. City amazing fixtures. Salah essential, but Sterling not getting a look in. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? He's probably one explosive performance away from everybody getting him in, isn't he? I mean, it just feels a bit like that.
Yeah, it's just that little bit, that sort of 1 million or 500,000 too much money.
Right.
That's why he's not owned as much. But if you can afford to get him, and you do, he could provide you with a lovely differential. Okay,
and you touched briefly then on Arsenal, so let's go to that game next. They travel to Newcastle, 3:00 on Saturday. Arsenal found their feet a little bit. First couple of games, very, very difficult games. He's now started to play Lacazette a bit more. He obviously dropped Mkhitaryan for game week 4 so that he could play those two up top. Worked on the whole, 100%. From what I can see. And one of the things that Tom was saying to me last night was that actually Emery is a systems man. He's a systems man. He won't change his system so that he can fit in all of his big players. Okay. He's fixed on his system. It's 4-3-3. And he'll pick the players to go into that system where he thinks that they're right.
Right.
So what do you think? Give me a prediction now on what that Arsenal lineup is going to look like going to St James's Park on Saturday. Is he going with Aubameyang and Lacazette again, or is Mkhitaryan coming back in, or are all three of them going to play? What are you thinking?
No, I don't think Mkhitaryan's going to play.
You think Mickey's dropped again?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Why do you think that?
Because he had a bit of petulance at the end of the last game.
Okay.
Because he didn't play and he wasn't happy about it. And Lacazette was arguably, in my opinion, the best player that Arsenal had on the pitch in their last game.
Undoubtedly against Cardiff, yeah.
So,
absolutely was.
Off the back of that game, and the previous game where he came on and scored that bizarre goal, or the own goal, I don't see how you can drop in.
Okay. Dom J is saying, no Arsenal for me at all. Midfielders all rotation risks. And Emery doesn't know his best team yet. Okay.
I agree with that. I don't think he does. I think he got an insight into it in the last game, because that Arsenal team that we saw last week was by far and away the best Arsenal team I've watched play in a long time.
Sure.
So for me, he would be bonkers to not give that team another go.
Okay. And Leo is saying, I'm keeping Mickey for one more week to wait for Richarlison / Fraser to come back. Now
that is logical. If you're not on a wild card, that's logical.
That's interesting because I can foresee, and I think Leo is absolute, I can foresee a lot of Mickey to Richarlison's if Mickey's dropped again this week. You can see that, can't you? If Mickey's benched, Richarlison comes in, that's going to be a very, very popular transfer. A lot of you guys, so JC is saying he thinks Ramsey or Ozil will get dropped this time. Ozil's a bit of an enigma, isn't he? I mean, if it was me, if I was playing, Football Manager or whatever, Championship Manager, Ozil would be gone all day long. The way the guy's his attitude, and this is not news to anybody, let alone the Arsenal fans. So why does he persist with him? I don't know. Maybe it's the 300 grand a week he's got to pay him. Maybe he's under pressure to get the best out of him. I don't know, but
I don't know.
Doesn't seem to want to drop him.
I think I read that Mickey has a little niggle as well. I might have got that wrong.
Really?
But I was
not flagged in the game as far as I'm aware.
No, he's not flagged in the game. But I was fairly sure I read he had not necessarily enough to keep him out. But I'm sure I read something about him having a niggle.
Okay, we'll keep an eye on that. I'd like to, if you find that source, let me know, because I want to tweet that. I've not seen anything on Twitter about him having a knock. So you're putting the fear of God into all us Mkhitaryan owners now. So careful what you say. Careful what you say.
I'll find it when we finish. I'll find it.
Okay, very good. The one thing that I will say is that, and I didn't know this until Tom and Aaron both told me it last night, is that Mkhitaryan, and guys, I will probably get this wrong, so feel free to correct me. It wouldn't be the first time. He cannot play in one of the Champions League games. I think they've got to go away to a team called Karabag. Now, I'm going to get all the countries and nationalities wrong.
Hang on, for a start, the Champions League? You mean the Europa League?
I mean the Europa League. I absolutely do mean the Europa League. They've got to go away in the Europa League to a team called Karabag. Now, my understanding is that, I don't know what country Karabag are playing, but Mkhitaryan is not allowed into that country because of his nationality, because of him being Armenian. So he will not play in that game and won't even travel. So therefore, is he more likely to play in the Premier League games? Probably. So that's something to look out for. I think those... I know, I'm sure guys. Yeah, mind blown, right? But look that up, guys. If I can find the reference, I will definitely tweet that. There's definitely there's something out there that says Mkhitaryan cannot play in that Karabag away Europa League tie. So therefore, he's more nailed on in the league. Would be my view. Michelle's saying Azerbaijan League. Thank you, Michelle. So Karabag are from Azerbaijan. He's not allowed in Azerbaijan because of his nationality.
Right.
There you go. Random FPL knowledge of the day. I mean, there you go. Random.
You're being insightful tonight.
Well, that's
you
what happens.
You broke the stream, and now you've come up with this random fact about Mkhitaryan.
This is what happens when you spend the evening with two Arsenal fans. You get very deep and intellectual insight about Arsenal.
I see.
Very big fans. Both the guys of Torreira, by the way, who I really like. Not an FPL asset because he's a centre defensive midfielder, but I must admit, I like the look of him too. All right, let's move on. Let's go to Watford versus Manchester United in the evening game. Now, Lukaku, 3 goals in 3. In the Nations League, 2 goals and an assist. Are we overlooking Lukaku?
Well, you use the phrase criminally overlooked for Sterling. Lukaku is potential criminally overlooked.
He really is, isn't he? He really is. Now, United have had a challenging start to the season, let's say. They're not exactly firing all cylinders. We've had all the Mourinho circus in the background. Meanwhile, Lukaku quietly going about his business pretty damn well. So should we be looking... If you want to... I was going to say, if you're on a wild card, would you bring him in? Guys, you tell me. If you're on a wild card, have you bought in Lukaku? You clearly haven't.
But how?
Yeah, I know. How? If you want Aguero, you want Salah, you want Hazard.
You're going to let me have another 10 million in my budget?
Yeah, I get it.
Because it's a real struggle. And so... Right, so the reason I'm keeping Aguero, there's 2 reasons for it. One, Aguero himself. Great form.
Yeah. I want to know about Lukaku. Why not Lukaku?
This is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So Aguero, great form on his own. Playing in a team, equally in good form. Lukaku, great form. Playing in a team that is... what? Because they're
performing a bit below par.
Yes. Yeah. So, for me, Lukaku... If Lukaku gets... If United start playing as they should... Mm-hmm. Then Lukaku becomes a really good asset.
So in my mind, he's already a good asset. 3 and 3. Imagine if they start playing well, then he's going to get 4 in the next 3, 5 in the next 3. Fixtures look great. Going to play 90 minutes because they haven't got anybody else. Penalties, we think. Maybe it's Pogba. Could be Lukaku.
But you're going to lose Aguero for him?
Yeah, I guess so. Unless you go Salahless or whatever, right?
The only people that I've found with Lukaku in their team are United fans.
Okay. All right, okay. Let's see what you guys are saying about that. Let's see. Aaron is saying, good analysis on Lukaku, Sam. You got a fan there. Very good. Lukaku is Premier League proven, like Aguero. Yeah, absolutely.
He is, but I just don't think he's going to get as good service as Aguero will because United aren't playing as well.
David Solis, Lukaku, a wasted asset against decent teams, only playable against the bottom half, has got a bit of a reputation for being a flat track bully, hasn't he, Lukaku? goes a bit missing in
Didn't
some of the bigger
play well
games.
against us, did he?
That fuels that fire.
Look at that empty goal that he missed.
He's not going to miss too many more of those in his career, I'm sure, but has got a reputation for flat track bullying. However, United's fixtures are such that he could flourish, right? They are fixtures in which Lukaku historically does pretty well.
But I'd rather have Hazard and Aguero than I would Lukaku. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. The Tesso is saying, we're actually playing well, Sam. I agree. I mean, that United game, if you look at the underlying stats, you're going to give me another look now, but the 3-0 scoreline flattered Spurs, no doubt about it. It absolutely did. You look at the stats, it absolutely did. United played very, very well. For the first 20-25 minutes, they were the better side. If you look at the stats over 90 minutes, they absolutely did enough to get a couple of goals. So 3-0 sounds like a battering, but it really wasn't if you look at the stats.
Right, I haven't said that United are playing badly, but what I'm saying is that United are not playing at the level that they should for the team that they have. So there are some fantastic players in that United team, and they should be playing better than they are, is my opinion. Okay,
Cy Greggs has summed it right up. He said, Lukaku is good, but he's not Aguero good.
That's exactly it. That is exactly right.
So let's go and talk about United's opponents on Saturday evening then, which are Watford.
Now, 42 seconds, go.
42 seconds on Watford. What do you think? I mean, everyone's looking at this template defence. We've got the three musketeers at the back there with Alonso, Robertson and Mendy. Complement with Wan-Bissaka. Put some guff in there as your fifth midfielder and you're done. What about Holebas? Unreal stats. The most amount of crosses so far in the league, I think. I think he was top, or certainly in the top 3 for crosses in the box last year. I hasten to say, I'm a bit reluctant to say goal threat, because his goal that he has got this year was a little bit on the lucky side. But assist potential, absolutely. Absolutely. So are we overlooking Holebas? Are we overlooking Deeney? Are we overlooking Pereira?
I don't think people are. We might be.
And you've got Will Hughes in your wildcard team. So tell us your thinking behind that. Apart from the fact he's 5.0 and cheap.
He's 5.0 and cheap.
Okay, good. Yeah, good. All right.
No, I sort of felt like, oh God, I hate saying this because Joe will get all high and mighty. that I needed some Watford in there, because Watford have made a fantastic start to the season. And I kind of pondered on it for a while. So Holebas is one that I really have thought about quite a lot, and I have had him actually in my wildcard team.
Okay.
But I kind of, the way I'm seeing it at the moment is that in all likelihood I'm going to play those big 3, Robertson, Mendy,
every single week,
every single week, and I'm unlikely to play anybody else, because I'm probably not going to play I might play 4-4-2, but I'm unlikely to play 4-4-2 regularly, and then Holebas feels a little bit too expensive to be sitting on my bench. So I was looking for a Watford attacking player. Deeney has still got potential to come in my team, and I think Deeney is probably, alongside Pereira, the best option. Mm-hmm. But Hughes is that much cheaper.
Okay, all right. So Amwonit is saying Will Hughes potentially will go out of the team once Deulofeu comes back in. And he's saying that might be as early as next game week. So do you think Hughes might be just a transfer waiting to happen?
Game week? Yeah, it sounds like I need to get rid of it. Thank you.
There you go. Amwonit's thrown a spanner in the works.
It's the wooden spoon. It's arrived. He's chucked it in.
Benedict is saying the same thing. Hughes has to be a short-term pick. Deulofeu will come back in. So Kevin Spain is saying, is having Hughes and Pereira overkill?
Yes.
I think it is.
Yeah, I think
and of the two, Pereira looks more nailed on to actually start.
So I keep kind of thinking to myself, well, surely this can't last with Watford. But then, have you seen all those statistics around about, where Watford finished last season and where Leicester finished the season they won there? Have you seen all this nonsense?
Yes, I have, absolutely. I'm sure Joe's enjoying those statistics.
Oh, Joe is going to be loving it. He'll be absolutely loving it. Yeah, so, and then that makes you kind of think, well, they are playing really well at the moment, and they went behind against us and still managed to get a point, well, all 3 points. And not many teams will do that against us this season. So Watford looking decent.
Okay, and Possum Jenkins, thank you for joining, Possum. He is saying, thank you for joining, Possum. I sounded like Dane Edna Everett, didn't I? Yeah, so there's a reference for all of you over 30s. Anyone under the age of 25 will not have a clue what that's about.
No.
Possum Jenkins is saying, can you take Hughes out of a team that's won every game? Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. A bit like our stream this evening.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be honest, I didn't even think that Hughes was a rotation risk, but I guess he is. I guess they're right. Joe? Opinions, please.
So Joe did comment. I think he commented, and I'm not going to scroll back and find it, but I think he said Will Hughes is probably okay for a few weeks. He reckons that Deulofeu's coming back in a few weeks. But underlying feeling is Deulofeu's the man in that position.
So I need to have a little
think on. Could be a transfer waiting to happen.
All right.
Wolves versus Burnley. I don't want to talk too much about that, but could be a good opportunity for Wolves to win that game. I think Burnley now haven't got the Europa League, which is good for them. But I think the Wolves faithful will want to see a home win there. Everton versus West Ham. How are you feeling about that game? West Ham defensively and just all round looking pretty shocking so far this season. Need to get their act together. Going away to Goodison Park is not the sort of fixture where they're going to be able to do that, in my opinion. Everton don't look too bad, particularly going forward this season. So thoughts on Everton versus West Ham? An easy home win, or do you think West Ham can bounce back?
I don't think it's an easy home win. But I do think it's a home win. I don't see West Ham getting anything out of that game.
Okay. And have you got Walcott in your team? Because I absolutely have, and I'm really worried about.
I got Moura instead, didn't I?
Oh yes, absolutely, which is a great pick. So I'm really now obviously concerned about Walcott if he is not available for the weekend, and I think he's training guys, but I think it's sort of 50-50 at best if he plays at the weekend. I think he's got a little bit of a knock, shock from Walcott. So I'm worried about that. Do I want to take a hit to get him out? Probably not. I think I'm just going to risk it.
You've already had a hit, right?
I've had a hit. I'll come to my transfers a bit later on. So if I was going to get rid of Walcott, it'd have to be another -4. Now, when Richarlison's back, I'm pretty sure I'm going to reverse the transfer and get Richarlison back in for Walcott.
Richarlison's not going to play.
No, exactly. So Mr. Bombastic is saying Walcott is out. I wasn't sure that was confirmed, but if you guys have seen something that I haven't, then I'm more than happy to be corrected on that. Firetog is saying he's got 3 flags this week: Walcott, Fraser, and Zaha. So there is a lot of flags knocking about at the moment. But Walcott, he's a problem for me. I mean, we'll go back to game week 3 where I think he'd scored a couple of goals, looked on form. I went on the FPL show and said he seems like the obvious replacement for Richarlison. At the time, I think he did.
Thank goodness.
I know you didn't, but at the time, I think Walcott looked absolutely the obvious choice. Unlucky on game week 4, he gets hauled off. He goes off with an injury. So here I am sitting with a bit of a dud, I'm afraid, in my team.
Well, I mean, is he a dud?
Well, let's see. I mean, if there's ever going to be a game he can score a goal, it's against West Ham's defence right now.
If he plays.
Absolutely, if he plays.
West Ham, always potential to score, though. I think it's an Everton win, though, really.
Okay, all right.
Don't see West Ham getting off the bottom of the table yet.
Okay, another player which you guys will talk about briefly because you're talking about him in the live chat. Another one that's flagged, may or may not play, is Wilfried Zaha. Now, we all understand the importance of Zaha to that Crystal Palace team in the same way that Tompkins is important at the back for Crystal Palace. They have got to go to Huddersfield this game week, which I don't see that as a gimme for Palace. I mean, Huddersfield are potentially one of those 2 or 3 whipping boys in the sort of bottom bit of the league. But Palace without potentially Zaha and Tompkins, that suddenly turns into a difficult game, doesn't it, at Huddersfield? Thoughts on Zaha?
Well, I've said a couple of times that over the last few weeks about how I know you talk a lot about Tompkins and how important he is, and I totally agree with you. But I think for me, Zaha is key in that Palace team. He is the spark.
And have you seen anything about he's going to play or not play or anything definitive?
And I haven't seen him in any photos of training either.
And what was really annoying was that in Roy Hodgson's press conference, which I think was today or yesterday, actually didn't refer to Zaha at all, or maybe was very inconclusive about whether he was going to play.
Because it's the same as last week, right? He knows how important Zaha is and how much of a lift it gives the opposition if they know he's not going to play.
True.
So he's not going to come out and say that he's not going to play. In the same way that I haven't seen, like Fraser was missing in the Bournemouth photographs of training, so was Zaha in the Palace ones.
So I'm not sure I agree with that. And the guys are saying the same, that he was pictured in training. I think I have seen that.
But he's not in full training.
There was definitely a picture of him doing like a 5-a-side drill, I think, that I've seen on Twitter.
But I think from what I saw, and I might be wrong, was that he wasn't in full.
Okay, all right.
I don't think he's. I don't know. To be honest, like a half-fit Zaha is probably better than no Zaha.
Okay, so you guys are saying that it does appear to be in training, and there's lots of pictures of him in training, which is great. But certainly from the comments that Hodgson put in his press conference, it was very, very uncertain, very uncertain. So he may well be training, guys, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him for that game against Huddersfield.
Or that we don't see him for an entire game. That wouldn't surprise me.
Okay, all right. Alex Summerson is saying Zaha will play, a local newspaper said days ago. Okay, interesting. Aaron is saying Zaha is the pivot to the team.
Agreed.
Absolutely. No question about his importance. No question about his importance.
Totally agree.
Okay, I think we've covered more or less all the games. A very quick word on Southampton versus Brighton. I think Southampton have upped their game a little bit recently. Home win for you in that game, or can Brighton put a bit of a cat amongst the pigeons?
My jammy pick actually comes out of this game.
What a lovely little segue that is.
Yeah. I think Brighton they've started okay. But I think Southampton will have too much from this game. Okay,
so let's talk about jammy picks then, and we're going to talk about captain picks in a minute. I think we've covered that, and I think we all know certainly who I'm going to captain. I think you're going to go the same. But I'm going to talk about top points picks and jammy picks. Let me hear your jammy pick. Have you got a shortlist again with one at the top of the shortlist as usual this week?
Just one.
Just one this week? Okay, so go for it.
Yeah, so I had a different strategy this week, mostly because I forgot. that I needed a jammy pick until you came home from work and I was dishing out the dinner and you went, you got a jammy pick? And I was like, oh, it's Thursday. No, I haven't.
So by the way, I'm now very used to you forgetting to do jammy pick. So what I do is I put a tweet out there, and when did I do this tweet, guys? This was at about 5 o'clock this evening, saying, let me hear your jammy picks. Now, I don't obviously tell you what the guys are saying on Twitter. No, I didn't know you did this. Because otherwise you'll just pick one of them.
What? I won't.
I don't want to make your life easy, right? You've got to put some effort into this jammy pick. Right, so I've got a whole load of what has to be said. Some very, very good jammy picks, guys. So I want to hear yours first, and then I'll talk about the community's jammy picks. On
okay,
Twitter.
So basically what I did this week in a new strategy. So normally I look at the team that I think has got the best fixtures, and then pick some, and then sort them by percentage owned, so that I get down to the ones I can have, and try and.
So
pick
what team is he from?
I've done it differently this week. So this week, instead of doing that, I decided to sort the game by creativity. So I basically went.
What is it? What?
So I looked for the players with the most creativity in the game so far.
Okay.
And then
I was hoping this would be a quick answer, but
it is. And then I went down the list really and looked at the top 3 under 5% owned and picked the one with the lowest ownership.
Right. Okay. Good. And you concluded that.
So the problem is I can't really say his name.
Oh my goodness.
Elyounoussi.
Elyounoussi. I think the Southampton player.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
So he has the second highest creativity score in the game for players under 5% owned.
Aaron Nair said, "Sam, I'm confused."
It's not that difficult.
Tanmay, I think it's Kate or Kate. Tanmay Kate said, what is a jammy pick?
A jammy pick is a random pick that will do well in the next game week. They have to be under 5% owned, and they have to have pretty much not done anything so far. So it's just a hunch.
And Mr. Bombastic, thank you for saying. He has, look, this is why we love you guys. He's put that phonetically. Elyounoussi.
Thank you.
There you go.
Elyounoussi.
Still said it wrong. Elyounoussi.
Elyounoussi.
Yes. Okay. Good. I'll give you that.
Okay. So he is my jammy pick this week. He's owned by 0.2% of the game.
Oh, proper jammy pick. Okay. Very good. Very good. And the guys are liking that. I think Dan Rumford, pretty good shout. Okay. There we go. Look at that.
See?
The Tesso, not a bad shout. That. Goodness me. Yes. Wow. Excuse me while I fall off my chair. Right. Let's go to.
My last jammy pick did well.
Let's go to. Who was the last one?
Came in. Anthony Knockhart.
Oh, got an assist, didn't he?
Came in, didn't it?
Got in, okay. Bit like the time Aaron Lennon came in for you because he played. I'll never forget that. Yeah, jammy pick. He played, got 3 points.
Well, everyone said he wasn't going to play.
Let's have a look at what you guys are saying in the community. So here is my tweet that I put out about 5 o'clock with a couple of pots of jam. Now,
I've got to put my glasses
now,
on for
this is a player. So this is a player that I was going to point out as my jammy pick to offer up for you. So I was talking about having a Leicester player. I'd already thought about it before at Captain's Pick Pod, which is Jeff.
Haven't.
I had absolutely thought about it. But Rashi Gazelle, I think it's Gazelle or Gazelle. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce it. Maybe one of you guys can come on and spell it for us phonetically again. Selected by 0.4 of the game, 5.3. Looks like Mahrez, plays like Mahrez. I think he's also Algerian. I mean, this guy...
But he's not Mahrez.
Literally is the new Mahrez.
Okay.
It's not, but he literally is the new Mahrez.
I mean, is he going to have a strop?
It could, yeah. Has he got an attitude problem like Mahrez? I don't know. But so Quarry256, Gizal. Okay,
Joe's doing it for you as
well. So we're getting conflicting reports here. Mr. Bombastic, it's Mahrez. Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's ridiculous. But I think he has looked pretty attacking. He's getting into some very good positions. And at 0.4, you can see there his creativity and his threat stats already. Not looking too bad. A very, very much a differential at 0.4. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Josh Waldridge, Steve Mounier at Huddersfield. I'll get my coat. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Josh did message me about Ake. He fancies us.
Jammy Pick for game week 5. Ake, under 5% ownership. Just, I would say. Where's his 4.6? Yeah, so only just under 5%. But you can have Ake should you wish. Let's see what else we've got. FPL Sage, Alex Iwobi. That is a bit out there. I'm not sure about that.
Got dropped last time.
I'm not sure about that. Diraj is saying 0.6 Yarmolenko versus Everton. Yeah, well, West Ham needs something from somewhere. Maybe bringing him in is the way to get a result there. Here's one I like. Luca's Road to FPL Glory at FPL Legend 98 is saying, for me, it's Ademola Lookman. Everton have Richardson suspended. Bernard and Dominic Calvert-Lewin seem to be injured. Walcott's a doubt. Therefore, could get a start and playing against West Ham. Only owned by 0.1. Very, very good.
That is a proper jammy pick.
If that came in, that would be the jammiest thing ever. Jansky Arnimar is saying Will Hughes. The aforementioned Will Hughes. Dominic Calvert-Lewin to the rescue, Flyder Sports is saying. Cy Greg, if you're tuning in, thank you for replying to the tweet. Robbie Snodgrass, 0.1 owned on set pieces. Could be jammy against that awful Everton defence. All right, could be. Yeah, could be. The man, the myth, the legend that is Alex Sorloth with Benteke injured, with Zaha potentially missing out. Is this weekend away at Huddersfield? Is it time for Alex Sorloth? Is it? Could be. Not convinced myself. Not convinced. So some very good ones in here. And I want to finish up on this one by at FPL Inject. He's saying, okay, hear me out on this. Valencia, 6.5. 0.7% owned. Created more chances than any other defender in the last 2 game weeks. Hashtag just saying. So, a Man United fullback. Can that count as jammy? Can that count as jammy? I think it can.
Because it's not Lukaku. But they're playing Watford.
Okay. All right. So, in terms of captain picks for this week,
it's Aguero. It's Aguero for me.
I think for me too. If I didn't have Aguero, I would be very tempted on Alonso. You know,
if I didn't have Aguero, I'd
very
Alonso.
Tempted for Alonso.
I would too.
I've also kind of been tempted by Mendy throughout the week because I saw the awesome cross for Giroud's goal and I thought he's my captain and I thought no, I've got Aguero. So it is Aguero for me. I think
you should captain Mendy. That just for a bit more FPL family banter.
Well, I'm not sure I want to go quite that far. Plus Aguero's had a nice rest over the international break, whereas Mendy hasn't. So I'll be going Hazard.
It's my first game week with Mendy. I bet he gets dropped.
And I get bonus points from the bench. So I'm going Aguero, you're going Aguero. Game week 5 captain for you guys in the community is 78% Aguero according to today's poll. 13% going for Hazard, 6% for Alonso and 1 for Salah. So Hazard is reasonably popular and the best of the rest.
Against Spurs.
Yeah.
Brave.
3 goals in 2 games against Spurs.
Yeah.
Good underlying stats.
Yeah, but I think there's better picks.
Well, of course there are. Yeah, absolutely. Aguero and Hazard being 2 of them.
Yeah.
But Salah are absolutely up there in people's thoughts. Wildcarders, how are you feeling? Now, I've not played my wildcard, so you go ahead and tell us how you're feeling. Awesome or should be set for a few weeks? Still debating my picks.
Well, I've got a couple, haven't I, that I'm still not set on.
Very good.
Now, Will Hughes, clearly.
Very good. So, of you guys that have wildcarded, should be set for a few weeks. So kind of feeling 2 out of 4, 32%. Should be set for a few weeks. 32% of you feeling like that. 28% of you saying, awesome, glad I wildcarded. I've noticed I've spelled awesome wrong. Thank you for anyone that spotted that. I was in the rush to sort out the technology that failed. Still debating my picks, 24%. And I've wasted my wildcard. 15% of you saying I've wasted my wildcard. Shouldn't have played it. Absolutely.
Well, to be fair, I wasted mine last season because I only made 2 subs. Forgot about it.
Right, so guys, I think that is it for the game week. Is your team going to be set up like that? I think you're pretty set, aren't you, like that?
Yeah.
Hughes or Bennett to come in?
It's just no, no. So I'm just debating on whether I make a couple more transfers. That's it.
Okay, all right, very good. All right, so for you guys that want to find out what Sam's wildcard finally ends up looking like, get onto Twitter, follow me at FPLFamily. Get onto Instagram, follow Sam at FPLFamily, and we'll be posting what Sam's final wildcard draft looks like Saturday morning or even Friday night. You don't touch it Saturday morning, do you?
Yeah, that's right.
So Friday night, it'll be locked in.
Yeah.
It'll be locked in.
Before we go to bed on Friday night, we will tweet and Instagram it, and it will be done.
All right, excellent. So, guys, thank you for joining us tonight, and a special thanks to you guys that put up with the absolute guff that was the first 20 minutes of this and the nonsense software that I was trying to use. I won't be going back to that. I think I'll be sticking with what I know. If it ain't broke, I'm not going to fix it, as you guys quite rightly said. So if you did, for whatever reason, enjoy the video tonight, please hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed already, go subscribe. We'd love you to do that. Follow us at FPLFamily, Twitter and Instagram. Have a great weekend. Enjoy Game Week 5. Green arrows to you all. And we will see you on Sunday night, our usual time slot of 8 p.m, where we will be talking about how the action unfolded throughout Saturday and Sunday.
Unless we've got divorced after Saturday lunchtime.
Unless we get divorced after the FPL derby.
And then we won't be back. No, we will.
On that note, guys, good night. See you Sunday.
Green
Good luck.
arrows, everyone. See you Sunday.